Hello, everybody. Recently, on the Joe Rogan Experience, they were talking about armored combat, and so I wanted to do a reaction and correct some of the information. They got some information wrong, and I just wanted to correct that and just set the record straight about our sport. And if anybody knows Joe Rogan, please send him this video so he can understand what this sport is truly about, because he seems to have some misconceptions about this sport. This is the episode with Big J Ogerson, Louis J Gomez, and Dave Smith, the Skank Squad or something like that. Anyway, you can look it up. It was just a couple weeks ago or just a couple days ago from the posting of this video. So let's get into it.
You've seen those Russian videos where those guys beat the fuck out of each other with swords?
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
Dude, don't do that, Louis. I can't believe I have to tell you don't do that. Please don't do that.
You got armor, dude.
Yeah.
And I got a sword.
Bro, you're going to get hit in the head with a sword. You're going to forget all your jokes.
No, it's all right. No. It's not fresh.
So the first point he brings up is concussions. Now, it is a combat sport, so obviously there's risks of things happening. And concussions can happen when you're using large two-handed pole arms and that sort of thing. But in terms of one-on-one combat with one-handed swords and punches and kicks, the likelihood of a concussion happening is significantly lowered, far less than boxing and MMA. The main reason for that are the helmets. Now this is my lovely helmet. Now this bad boy weighs about 15 pounds, and it is hardened steel. Now the main difference between this and a football helmet is this helmet will sit on your shoulders. So essentially what that does is it prevents your chin from getting rattled. And if you know anything about boxing or MMA, you know that concussions primarily happen from whiplash, from your head getting whipped one way or the other, usually from the anchor point of your jaw. Now, when your head is encased in a heavy 15-pound block of steel, your chin is perfectly safe. Your temples are perfectly safe. Your ears are safe. All that really happens when you get hit is your whole body moves. And your shoulders primarily take the impact. And that's why it's different than, say, a football helmet, where it's kind of strapped to your neck and your head is free to bobble around. Think of it, you got like your head is encased in this armor. And oftentimes you see the helmet get punched and the helmet kind of shifts. But the helmet is shifting, but my head stays stationary as the helmet shifts. So it looks a lot more intense than it actually is inside the armor. And also just keep in mind, these are battlefield helmets. These helmets were designed to take a lance hit from a knight charging at full speed on horseback. And the modern helmets we have today are even safer than that. So as long as you have a good, sturdy helmet, your chances of getting concussed are significantly lower, especially when compared to boxing and MMA. So,
imagine how much a sword weighs.
No, I got him a spider silk hat. He's fine.
Even if you have that helmet on, imagine how much a fucking sword weighs and it's hit you in the head.
Well, the armor is like 120 pounds, 130
right,
pounds.
But how much would you need around your head to let someone hit you in the head with a sword? I'd need a lot more than that, son.
Yeah, more than that.
A lot more than that.
Oh, that would be fun, though.
Bro.
So he's asking the question, how much does a sword weigh? A one-handed sword weighs about 3 pounds. So just talked about how the helmet weighs anywhere from 12 to 15 pounds. So a 3-pound sword versus a 15-pound helmet, you can do the math there that, yeah, the helmet can handle a 3-pound swing of a sword. They're also talking about the weight of the armor in total. So the armor is not typically 120 pounds, 130 pounds. That would be ridiculously heavy. You wouldn't be able to move. You would gas out in 20 seconds, if that. Armor typically weighs 70 to 80 pounds for melees. That's the group combat, and that's where a large portion of concussions and injuries do happen because it's a brawl. You know, it is dangerous. That is very dangerous, especially the melees. But speaking on the one-on-one duels, you can use a lot lighter armor because, again, there's a significantly lowered risk of injury, head trauma. So those armors generally between 50 and 60 pounds. So yeah, and then again, the helmet, 12 to 15 pounds. Some people can go lighter. Historically, the helmets were about 7 pounds because they prioritized combat effectiveness over concussion safety. But in the modern era, we like to preserve our brains, so we typically wear heavier helmets, and that prevents a lot of the concussions. And again, when your jaw is safe, it prevents a big part of concussive force. You know, you can be in light sparring in a boxing match, and some guy just dinks your jaw, and you'll take more damage from that little tap on your chin than you will from, you know, an axe to the helmet. You know, take it from me. So
You get a shield to the head. You're getting CT motherfucking E. You can pretend that you're protected. You are not protected from that rattle, son.
Lewis, do you still
dents.
remember your jokes?
Look at the dents in that guy's helmet where he's got hit in the head with a fucking sword.
M1
So the dents in the helmet that Joe Rogan is referring to is most likely due to the fact that the helmet is made with material called mild steel. And mild steel is actually safer at preventing concussions than other forms of steel because it crumples. Much like in a car, there are crumple zones to keep the passengers safe. When the steel crumples a little bit, it absorbs that impact, and the energy doesn't get transferred into the helmet and knock you around. So actually, helmets with dents in them typically safer for concussions because of the mild steel is more flexible. Still strong, but you know, because of the crumple zone, less impact gets transferred. The more you know.
Medieval, that's
This
this, promotion.
fucking rules.
And they're doing it live for what I would describe as not that many people.
Yeah, 45 people in the crowd.
Well, I know, but if I went to this, I would go home and I go, I can't believe there's only 45 people in this thing. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
They would
in my
have a
life.
giant turkey leg and a giant goblet.
Guys, they got everything. Renaissance Fair. They got the dart game where you can win the animal.
Bro, this is
I'm going
crazy.
back.
Look at that.
Yes, Big J Ogerson, he knows what it's about. It's about fun. It's about entertainment. You know, that's why we put these shows on. There's not a lot of people who know about this sport. That's why I have this channel to try and spread the sport as far as it can go. Because I think it is a really cool sport, especially the one-on-one MMA stuff. That's sort of what I focus on. I'm not super big on the melees personally, but the one-on-one combat I just think is really cool because it's basically MMA that appeals to everybody, really. Like, who doesn't want to see knights fighting? You know, it appeals to 10-year-olds and it appeals to old ladies, you know, and everybody in between. You know, there's rarely blood. You know, people don't get knocked out like they get knocked out in real MMA. You know, and so he gets it. This is the demographic we're after. The guys who just want a turkey leg and to see some sparks fly. You know, it's an awesome sport, and so Big J Ogerson, this guy gets it.
Coming down.
Yeah, all that weight because it's all covered in steel, and then he has this big ass fucking shield and steel gloves on, and he's coming down on your head with that over and over and over again.
You think that's
That's a
more
terrible
dangerous
idea.
than MMA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that guy might got it real fucked up.
All right, so this is where Joe Rogan is just simply out of his element.
Donnie, you're out of your element, dude.
I've competed in boxing. I've trained Muay Thai for about 8.5 years. This is me taking a shot in my boxing match. And this is me taking a poleaxe to the head that nearly knocked my helmet off.
Here's those good planks, ladies and gentlemen.
without a shadow of a doubt, I can tell you that the strike in the boxing match was far more concussive than the poleaxe. My vision went black for a split second. And after the match, I felt terrible the rest of the day. I had a headache, and I won that fight. On the other hand, when that poleaxe hit me, my immediate thought was, oh shit, that doesn't look good. You know, it wasn't, oh man, I gotta reassemble my brain, or, you know, oh, I'm stumbling over, or I lost consciousness or anything. None of that happened. I felt the helmet hit, the helmet turned, my head was stationary. None of the impact actually went into my head because, again, these helmets are designed for this sort of thing. And I went about the rest of my day, felt fine, totally great, enjoyed the rest of the Ren Fair, no headaches, and I was just a little bit tired. And that's a poleaxe versus just a simple punch to the jaw, you know? So, yeah, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that boxing, and that's just boxing. He's talking about MMA. MMA, you get ground and pound, you get all that, and yeah, you can do that in armor, but again, you have this helmet on. And the thing about the helmet, when the helmet is flat on the ground and something smacks into it, the energy just gets transferred to the ground. Like, the impact doesn't go to your head. It's actually safer getting hit on the ground with a helmet on than it is standing. Just by how physics work. Force transfers through the helmet down into the ground, and your head's just there. So, again, he's just out of his element. He has no experience with this stuff, and he's just kind of speaking out of his behind, if you will. And when I was training for my boxing match, and I was sparring, multiple times a week, I just, every time after class, I was like, this is so bad for my brain. Like, I'd felt terrible. I'd come out of class sometimes a little kind of dazed, and I'm just like, and that's light sparring. That's not even full force fighting. On the other hand, I can go to medieval combat practice every weekend, and we can punch each other as hard as we want. And I go home, I drive home, no headaches, no problems, nothing. I feel fine. I'm a little tired, but he simply doesn't understand how strong a 15-pound steel helmet really is, especially one that sits on your shoulder. So when the force comes through, it transfers into your shoulder, it transfers into your back. It's like having a giant juggernaut helmet.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch. I'm gonna hit you with your own pimp.
Yeah.
Like a different kind of, like a cracked skull type fucked up.
They fed him to a dragon afterwards.
I mean, that could
You're
kill.
dragging
That
me,
seems
kid.
like that could kill somebody. Like that doesn't seem like, even with armor on, I don't believe that you can be okay from getting hit like that in the head.
Well, also all the shit from from the NFL is like, it's like the helmet doesn't really matter, because when it's
Right.
cracking against your head and you're rattling around,
How
it's
good
still
could that helmet be where you would
not
let a
great.
dude with a shield and an iron
Not good
fucking
enough.
sleeve on slam down on your head over and over and over again?
The helmets are very, very good, let me tell you. It's like wearing a bowling ball that sits on your shoulders. It's I don't know how many times I have to explain this, but if anybody knows Joe Rogan, please send him this video. Let him know that these helmets are the real deal. This is not fantasy stuff. This is authentic to what they used on the battlefield. These can take a battle axe. These can take a lance from a charging knight on a horse. Like, these are real helmets. And notice, helmet is much bigger than my head. This is not flush against my skin. There is a few, inch or two of padding between this steel and my head, especially on the top. The top is the safest spot. There's like almost half a foot of space between the top of my head and the point of this, So, I can't reiterate this enough. The helmets work. Whenever anybody asks, does it hurt? Yes, there are some shots that can hurt. It is a combat sport. It is real. But the answer we always give is, the armor works. the armor works. Steel is a strong material. There's a reason they used it on the battlefield where lives were on the line. So I don't know. You can take my word for it. You can say, hey, just trust me, bro. But I've done both. I've done boxing, I've trained MMA, I've trained Muay Thai, I've done armored combat, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, sparring and boxing and MMA and Muay Thai, far worse. A naked punch to the jaw is so much worse than a 3-pound sword to a 15-pound helmet. Like, I don't know how else to explain it for you guys.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Look at these guys have fucking axes,
particularly
man.
this one. This is the one I want to do.
Bro,
Big
this is so insane. This is so fucking
Lewis,
insane.
let's me and you fight this guy with spears.
Let's
with
go,
long
dude.
axes.
Here's the
I
thing.
got to run to the bathroom.
ref's
Don't
giant
do
flag.
this, you two. And I do want to watch a full pay-per-view of this now.
It does look.
But yeah, to essentially wrap this whole video up, it's a combat sport. Obviously, there's some dangers to it, obviously, but to say that this is more dangerous than MMA is absolutely ludicrous of a statement. Joe's just out of his element. Like, taking a naked punch to the jaw is so bad for your brain. Having that helmet encased in a 15-pound, or having your head encased in a 15-pound helmet changes so much in terms of impact. It absorbs so much impact. So if anybody knows Luis J. Gomez, please get him in contact with the LA Golden Knights. We'd love to put him in some armor so he can experience it, so he can understand that no, what Joe is saying is not accurate. Someone punching you in the head when you have a 15-pound helmet on is not more dangerous than getting punched in the face without any protection. Like, I don't know why I have to explain that to anybody. And I promise you, you won't forget any of your jokes. And you'll have some more jokes to tell, honestly, more than anything. So please, contact the LA Golden Knights. We'd love to have you. I don't know if you're in the LA area or not, but please, give us a call. Love to put you in some armor. Glad I could help dispel some rumors. Sorry if I got a little agitated, but he's just out of his element.
Donnie, you're out of your element, dude.
You know, he's just out of his element. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, I'm not going to say no injuries ever happen. It's a combat sport. Stuff happens, but it is definitely safer than MMA. There's a reason I do this and I don't do MMA. I'll just put it that way.